Hi, boys and girls. It's Kathy and Jane, and we're back here at Renfrew, and we're going to read some more summer stories today, brought to you by the Institute at Renfrew. One of my favorite authors is Jan Brett, and I picked one of my favorite books of hers to share with you today. I know it's another winter book, but hopefully today is hot and this will cool you off a little bit. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. If you look at each side of the page, you will see a mitten shape. And inside that mitten are some pictures. I wonder if Jan Brett's going to give us some clues about what happens next in the story. At first, his grandmother Baba did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. Baba is the Ukrainian word for grandmother. That was Nicky's grandmother. After she finished, she said, "Now when you come home, first I will look to see if you're safe and sound, but then I will look to see if you have your snow white mittens." So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. You see his mitten there in the snow? And look in the mitten shapes. There's an animal coming. I'm not quite sure what it is. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside. It was cozy and warm and just the right size, so he decided to stay. Can you see him down there? He's going into the mitten and look and see who's coming next. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his beautiful winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wiggled in feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, his big feet, he moved over. Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone covered with prickles, they made room. Jan Brett has written so many books, and as many times as she could, she puts a hedgehog in the book, and they are prickly. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by all the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled, but when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. See his talons on his big feet. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mitten and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not very pleased. There was no room left, but when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. My goodness. Know how many more animals can get in there? It started snowing, but the animals were snug in the mitten. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. Just the sight of that cozy mitten made him feel drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in the mitten, and when the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. Oh my goodness. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not being one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in there as tightly as could be, but what animal would ever argue with the bear? The mitten swelled and stretched. It was pulled and bulged to many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. Along came a little meadow mouse, no bigger than an acorn. She wriggled into the one space left and made herself comfortable on top of the bear's nose. The bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Ah, 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 ka-choo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Now you see, Nicky is looking for his mitten, isn't he? On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. Look at those poor animals. They were blown in all directions. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. I think Baba will be pleased. Oh my. Look at the mittens. We know why it's bigger, don't we?
Hi, boys and girls. I'm going to read the book to you today called Creepy Carrots. And this little rabbit's name is Jasper. Jasper Rabbit had a passion for carrots, and the carrots that grew in Krakenhopper Field were the best, fat, crisp, and free for the taking. He pulled some for a morning snack on the way to school. He yanked out a few on his way to Little League practice. He ripped them from the ground on his way home at night. Jasper couldn't get enough carrots. Until they started following him. Look at the carrots. They're following Jasper. He first noticed something strange after the big game against the East Valley Hares. Jasper was about to help himself to a victory snack when he heard it, the soft, sinister tunk, tunk, tunk of carrots creeping. He turned, but there was nothing there. Oh, just my imagination, he thought, but he hopped a little faster. That night, as he was brushing his teeth, there they were. Jasper whipped around, but nothing. He laughed at himself, picked his toothbrush off the floor, and went to bed quickly. Look at Jasper's face. Tricky crabs. The next morning, he approached Krakenhopper Field slowly. He reached for 2 wild carrots. Nothing happened. He bit into one. Nothing happened. Whew, creepy carrots. That was ridiculous. But when he arrived home that evening, "Mom! Mom!" Jasper screamed. "Creepy carrots in the shed!" His mom opened the door slowly. There weren't any carrots, not even the regular kind. "There's no such thing as creepy carrots," Mom said, shaking her head. Later that night, as Jasper lay in bed, he heard it, breathing, terrible carrot breathing, and there on his wall, "Creepy carrots!" he shouted. "Dad! Dad!" His dad thumped into his bedroom and threw on the light. Are there any carrots there? They searched under the bed. No creepy carrots. They looked through the closet. No creepy carrots. They opened the dresser drawers. No creepy carrots. "Just a bad dream, son," his dad said, shaking his head. "Now go to sleep." That wasn't gonna happen. By the end of the week, Jasper was seeing creepy carrots creeping everywhere. Jasper knew his parents were wrong. Creepy carrots were real, and they were coming for him. But they couldn't get him if they couldn't get out. What do you think he's gonna do? Jasper hatched a plan. First thing on Saturday, he grabbed supplies and he headed to Krakenhopper Field. What he's doing, there's his supplies. There's the beginning of Jasper's plan. He's sawing away and building. And there, look, he made a trench, a big long hole that he's putting water in. And he's building a fence. And the sun finally set across Crop and Hopper Field, and Jasper Rabbit smiled. On his way home, there was no tunk, tunk, tunk. There was no carrot-shaped shadows. His plan had worked. No creepy carrots would ever get out of that carrot patch again. And here's a wall. He built a big fence around his carrots. That'll show him. And as the sun finally set, the carrots of Crack and Hopper Field got him. Cheered. Their creepy plan had worked. They were sure of it. Jasper Rabbit would never get into that carrot patch ever again. The end.